had that same exact moment on Sunday. Actually, it was like 6:30 and I was ready to fall asleep on the couch. I was like, oh, I still have some good time in the day. I think, working to focus on what's controllable is really huge, right? So we can't change the fact that we live in New England and the days are eventually going to be shorter. They're going to be colder and things are going to have to shift around. But going back to what I mentioned before, we can control how we show up, focus on what we can commit to. So things like our effort, our sense of confidence, our desire to achieve, right? Like those are our own, and there's a sense of ownership over those. And with that, we're really looking at this idea of internal or intrinsic motivation. And there's a great theory by DC and Ryan called the self-determination theory, where we look at the fact that humans like to have a sense of autonomy and competency and relatedness in their activity. If we can fulfill those three needs, it provides humans with this sense of choice and the ability to manage their own lives. And so something I like to talk about with my athletes is how do we incorporate that need for autonomy, competency, and relatedness as we're striving to do X, Y, or Z. So that might be, having an athlete have choice in their activities. So as the days are getting shorter and maybe that motivation is waning a bit, saying, listen, here's where we're at. You want to make sure that you're putting in an extra 20 minutes of practice a day. What does that practice look like? So rather than I have to do this thing every day I play, pull it out of a hat, make it exciting, give yourself choice in that. Set those small goals and track your progress on those goals, because when we see that my work is paying off, we're going to be far more apt to continue engaging in that behavior. And then finally, from the relatedness standpoint, many of these athletes are engaged in structured practice. So they have their teams built in, but when they're putting in the work outside of practice, they might be alone, right? Or we can encourage them to say, like, find a neighbor, go out in the driveway, play around with a friend, or have an accountability buddy, right? If you're aiming to continue to achieve these goals that might have been easier when the days were longer, when the days were warmer, let's add new pieces to that equation so that that same drive sticks around a bit more just by playing with new pieces